I grew up through Reaganomics, in came the cocaine, crackheads and alcoholics. The women all strung out, wasn't thinking about no baby bottles. Whole hood skid row, wasn't many role models. They flooded in the guns too, to fill up the hospitals. Gang wars came through, just took it to another level.
Greetings, kings and queens. I would like to thank Brother Toad for coming up over here and allowing me to do this interview with him. It's the month of February, a month that we call Black Heritage Month. I want to get in a little deeper off on that a little bit later on, but where I first want to start is that, I mean, man, we in a struggle. This thing that we got going on out here is not a playground. It's not anything to play with. We are at war. Unfortunately, some of these attacks that are being made against us are from people that look just like us. But sometimes it's because we haven't realized where the mechanics of this war first started. First of all, I want to tell you something. You know, when I was a little boy, I was the only son. I had a mother, and at the time I had two sisters. And as a little boy, my dream was to grow up one day and become a man and have my own family and take care of my mother and my sisters. I dreamed about having a ranch, having horses, growing my own food, doing everything that I needed to do to make sure that they were safe and okay. Like a lot of our youth today, I lost contact with that dream. I got involved off into different little things out here off in these streets, and I lost myself. And this is one thing that I feel that we need to understand about the youth that we are dealing with in our today's society, especially our inner city youth. The hardest struggle in human development is the struggle that we go through as adolescents. In that struggle, our children are trying to figure out who they are and how they fit in. We as adults have a responsibility to make sure that our families and our communities are safe. That's our responsibility. I just got back home. I welcome you all to the block. This is Oklahoma City. Trey 5. This is where I grew up at. I've always took pride in this community because our community, I believe, can be a model for other communities, because our whole purpose, irregardless of the wrong that any of us, or the bad choices that any of us has made, our whole purpose has been to protect our families and our communities. We have too many people out here in these communities that sit up and they criticize our young. They criticize black people. This is not only the mindset of Europeans that has that white supremacist mentality. Many of us have a white supremacist mentality because we were taught to hate and despise one another. We were taught that the only person that we can trust and that we can depend on to help us or to rescue us was a white person. And I'm not insulting nobody's religion. Before I say this, please let me say this. I don't insult nobody's religion. Whatever helps you get through your day, whatever gives you strength, man, I salute that. I salute you. But you also got to understand the truth of this fact. Not only did they degrade our women and show our women that no black man could protect her. Not only did they take our children and show our children and our women that no man could protect her. Not only did they take a man and bent him over in front of his black queen and his children and penetrate him, they also gave you a white God. And told you that even if you haven't committed a sin or done nothing wrong, then you may be suffering consequences for things that your ancestors have done. And these things still carry with us right now today. That's how come when we sit up and we talking about our black youth, it's always with a negative flair. When we talk about black men, it's always with a negative flair. When we talk about our black women, it's always with a negative flair. When we talk about unity, oh, these black folks can't come together. They can't do nothing. We have been trained to think like the most inferior beings in this earth. But we are the rulers. We are the gods. Nobody can dictate who you are and who you will become except you. At 19 years of old, I was sentenced to 3 40-year sentences and a 7-year sentence and was sent to prison. Before I walked off into that prison, I made an open decision that penitentiary was not going to dictate who I was or who I was capable of being once I return home, if I return home. Because believe me, I was willing to die off in there to protect the shit that I believe in. But see, we have a lot of stereotypes and stuff going on, man. And that's what's affecting not only our children, it's also affecting our adults. You have a lot of adults. I'm 62 years old. There's people older than me. They're still struggling with their identity and how they fit in. They so busy trying to impress other people to where they don't even know who the hell they are. You have people running around this street. Excuse my language, I'm trying to keep this shit straight, man. Only thing that people are doing right now is sitting up and gossiping about other people. Gossiping about other people. Gossiping is the most deadly weapon to any family, any community, or any nation. Gossiping. If you can't say it in front of another person's face, don't say that shit to me. And those people that I love, you can't come to me saying shit bad about them. Because it's supposed to be check time up in this bitch. Y'all got these friends and shit that's running around coming back telling you what somebody else done said about you. You need to question the friend. Why in the fuck was they sitting up there listening to that shit? Because the best friend that you can have is the one that's going to be your best friend even when you ain't visible. We have a lot of work to do, man, and we have a fucking responsibility. We have a responsibility. Adults more than anything else. How can we expect our children to be better, to do better, to live better, if we stuck on doing the same shit? Always remember this. Please, always remember this. Family comes first. Tribe is the extended family, and that comes first. I'm not saying that you're supposed to discriminate against nobody or look at nobody or have no hate for nobody else. What I'm saying, though, is that if you show more respect and more consideration for anybody outside of your family and your tribe, then you are a weapon against us, man. You are a weapon against us. I do understand. Communication is the key to everything. And we have to be able to communicate with one another. Our children need us more than anybody else in this world to set up and communicate with them. When I'm saying communicate, I don't mean talk at them. Don't nobody, I don't care how old they are, nobody want to be talked at. Because if you talk at people, they will feel that they have to defend themselves and talk back at you. That's where arguments and confusion come at. We have to communicate with each other. The three most precious gifts in this world that any one person can give to another is respect, consideration, and compassion. Some of you people may say, well, what about love? And my response is this right here. If you don't have respect, consideration, and compassion for a person, then love is impossible. You've got to have those three things. We got to have that for one another. And I got to say this. I am sick and tired of being tired, man, of listening to conversations about how fucked up our children are. How fucked up we are. And save all that white supremacist ass shit. Save all that shit. You got to get to the point to where you got to look deep within yourself to understand yourself. If you understand you, then you will understand the world and you will understand the people around you. But you also got to understand this, man. We all got issues. I'm probably one of the most fucked up people that y'all would ever run across in this life. I not only suffer from post-traumatic slave disorder, I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. from being in this war for so long. And even though I've been locked up the majority of my life, boy, when it comes down to certain shit, I will go to the grave or go back to prison without a hesitation about shit that I love. What will you do? What will you do in order to correct shit that's going on in our community? What would you do to be able to sit out here and talk to some of our young men and women? Half of y'all scared. That's why you sit back and you gossip about them, acting like they are the worst that did ever happen off in here. We always talk about black on black crime. We ain't talking about this white on white crime. I just left New York. It wasn't a whole, but yeah, it's black people up there killing one another. But the biggest threat that was up there during the 6 years that I was up there was the MS-13. That was one of the biggest threats. But then there was a whole lot of sex offenders and motherfuckers out here trying to snatch children and trying to do that too. But the MS-13, they was sitting out there. They would take a little girl to invite a little boy to Central Park. And once that little boy got there, they would hack his ass up with machetes. You would find body parts all over Central Park. But ain't nobody talking about this shit. They want you to think that we are the biggest threat. That's how come every time a police officer pull up, he suddenly say that he was afraid for his life. I'm one of the most gentlest person in the world. I'm a real person, and I will defend mine. Sure, I will go to war. But who won't? About theirs. When them planes flew in that building in New York, them people wasn't dropping on their knees praying about it. They retaliated. But then we supposed to feel guilty about retaliating about something that we love, somebody that we love, somebody that means something to us. Man, fuck that. Excuse my language. But I'm coming to you with a real heart, man. We have a responsibility. Stop talking about our youth. Stop criticizing our youth. Get your grown ass out here and let's start doing something. Let's start doing something for our children. Let's create an environment for our children to be safe in. For our women to walk up and down this street without having to be threatened of being beat down or assaulted because somebody speak to her and she don't want to speak back. Y'all know this shit is going on. Some of the brothers that some of us may be riding with, sitting up, ride down the street. They see an underage girl and they start talking about her body. Nigga, shut the fuck up, nigga. That's a child, bruh. Correct your fucking conduct in my company. This is our fucking duty, man. This is our duty. Now I want to get back to one thing that I said I was going to get back to. I said this is the month for Black History Month, February. I study the history of my people every day, all day, every day of the year. Because it's what's important to me. But let me tell you what brought about Negro History Week that took place in the second week of February in the year 1936. After the emancipation of slavery, hoax of the emancipation of slavery, that shit wasn't nothing but a lie, because it was created up under really the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which said neither slavery nor involuntary servitude is permitted unless a person is convicted of a crime. Therefore, they just transformed that shit. They ain't never stopped this shit. That's why they always make the black man, the black woman, and the black child look like a fucking criminal. But between 1880 and 1940, there was an estimate of 2 black people being hung every day in this nation. Carter Goodwin Woodson and his council of black brilliant minds come together, and they decided to use a strategy to counteract the attack against our people. And that strategy was to propagate our greatness. Those positive things that we had to contribute. So on the second week of February in 1936, it was all about publishing the great achievements of our people. This was a strategy of war. We were being attacked daily. This was a strategy of war that was used to change the dynamics of the shit that the media was doing. We have to sit around with the intelligent minds, the black minds, the Nubian minds, the minds of the melanin people. We have to sit around and we have to deal with the fact of these wars that we are dealing with. We have to stop buying into their propaganda. And we have to develop strategies to counteract this shit. Stop speaking down about your own people. I understand that a lot of people have been disappointed. A lot of people have suffered heartbreaks in love relationships and everything. But I'm not that man that you was fucking with that broke your heart. Why every time you talking about black men, you thinking about him, but you talking about all black men ain't no fucking good? Come on with that shit, man. I know my brothers that I know, that I vouch for, well, they some of the best of the fucking best, you hear me? They take care of their fucking children. They do everything that they need to do in order to take care, and they will stand out here in this fucker, and if a motherfucker come down through here shooting, then guess what? We go all lay down and die in this bitch, and we go survive together. We are the fucking protectors. So stop sitting up buying into this white supremacist propaganda ass shit. Speak well about yourself. Believe in yourself. And believe in one another.
Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Love you.
Love you, bro. Is there any questions that you got to ask me, bro? Something that you want me to add to that, bro?
No, you on point. We good.
Hey. I don't want to take up too many people's time, man. And believe me, if the brother asks me, we will do this again sometime on a different subject, because, man, I can go on and on, because this matters to me. This matters to me. I love my family. I love my block. I love my people, man. This shit matters to me. If it don't matter to you, please ask yourself, what's wrong? And one more thing before we close. One more thing. I got to say this. Man, stop saying this fucking shit that children are fucked up because they living in single parent homes and shit. Stop saying that shit. It ain't single parent and home that do that shit. Every human being was gifted with one thing that nothing else in creation was gifted with. And that's the ability to choose. Some of y'all call it willpower. Every human being was given that ability. I made bad choices because I wanted to make bad choices. It didn't have shit to do with my mother or nobody else. I made those choices. Don't blame the parents for the decisions that the children make. Instead, work as a community and come out here and try to communicate and talk to the children as a group. Try to let them know that there's certain shit that won't be tolerated in the house or on the block. Some of y'all may say, well, some of these people is crazy. I done seen some of the craziest ass people in the world that was really crazy. But you know what? The craziest motherfucker in the world, when he realized that there's a real threat, I don't give a fuck how crazy it is, he'll straighten his ass up. I salute you, kings and queens. Much love, much respect. I hope we have another meeting later.
We got to get it in my city. Shit get ugly, shit get wicked. It get slimy, it get grimy, shit get dirty, it get gritty. Rock with niggas chasing millies, fuck up Billy and they system. I'm a grinder, better miss me. I'm a rider, nigga picture. Watch me knock it cause I'm itching. Watch me rock it with my wrist and let it lock. This only clip I make it pop deep in the sticks like young.